Hello, it is a new day, which means a new collection video. I've been wanting to kind of show this collection off since I started the channel again, much like the last one. I haven't had the chance until I got these Paws, and this is a collection that I've been working on for a very long time. I'd say maybe since I was, I don't know, like 11 or something. This is an interest and a hobby that I've had for a very, very long time, and I've collected quite a few of these, but I'm not going to be showing you all of them today because that would take quite a long time. Maybe I'll include a picture of them all, just so you can kind of see the size of it, but I think I do want to show you some of the most interesting ones and some of the kind of weirder ones, and yeah, so I guess we'll get started with the classics, and I'll have to kind of reach over here and grab them, so just give me a moment. So obviously this is the original classic Rubik's Cube. This is actually a GAN 365, which is one of the more popular brands of speed cubes that they have available. These are very nice because it makes it very easy to turn, and it has these magnets in it that kind of make it easier to have the layers kind of snap to each other. I'm trying to see if I can show it to you. It's a little hard to see, but it's really easy to feel. And the other nice thing about this is, like, I don't know that I can demonstrate it, but if you have a layer that's very turned like this, then you can still kind of move the other layer, and it kind of just goes anyway, which makes it really easy to turn these really fast and really inaccurately, but you still get to move really, really fast, which is great. So this is the 3x3, good old classic, old-fashioned, the start, the probably one of the most fun ones, I would say, just because of how easy it is to turn, and it's a nice in-between between something that's too simple and something that's too complex. I can solve this one in about 30 seconds, which is slow by some standards and very fast by some other standards. And then, of course, have the 5x5, the 7x7, the 9x9, and an 11x11, which you may have noticed I don't have any of the even numbered cubes. Well, I do have some of them, but I don't really like them as much. I have a 6x6, but I don't have an 8x8 or a 10x10. That's just because I don't like them quite as much. There's a subtle difference between how you solve an odd numbered cube and an even numbered cube. The odd ones all have this centerpiece here that you'll notice, and even numbered cubes don't have the centerpiece, and it leads to some somewhat annoying ways that you have to solve the cube, which aren't too bad, but I don't know, I just prefer to have it, and so that's why I have mostly the odd numbered ones here. So these are the basic, cube shaped original style Rubik's cubes, and I'd say these are probably the ones I solve the most. Mostly the 5x5 and the 7x7 and the 3x3, probably in that order, because I find the 5x5 just very satisfying. So then we'll move on to the next kind of set of cubes that I have here. So the next series of cubes I have, again, I should say puzzles, are the Minx puzzles. So these are, I believe it's a dodecahedron is the name of the shape. These are dodecahedron puzzles, and you can kind of tell I'm not really as good at these as I am at the other ones. These two are kind of left unsolved. You might be surprised why the smaller one is unsolved and this one is not. And that's just because of what I was explaining earlier. I don't like how it doesn't have centers. Makes it confusing and kind of hard to solve. This one is actually very old. I think this is one of the first like non-regular Rubik's Cube puzzles that I got. Like this is one of the ones where I first was like, yeah, let me try something new and different. And it was very new and different. And I don't solve these too much. I don't like them quite as much as I like the original style cubes, but they're still very interesting. This one in particular is pretty crazy. There's just so many pieces on it. You can tell that yeah, I'm missing a couple stickers here and there. It's a good puzzle, but man, does it take a long time to solve. I mean, not that these don't, but there's just so many pieces on this that like it really feels like a puzzle, you know, like a jigsaw puzzle where you're kind of just searching for pieces the whole time. And there's not like a ton of challenge to it because it's just a lot of like doing this, really like looking for the right piece and trying to find it. But nevertheless, still a very fun and interesting puzzle to have. And yeah, I don't really time myself with these very much. If I had to guess, I'd maybe say this takes me, I don't know, probably like 3 or 4 minutes, maybe. This one probably takes me longer. I don't really know. The 5x5 I can solve in like 2 minutes. This one I think is like 10. And the rest of these I don't really time. I don't really solve them often enough to do that anyway. So these are the Minx puzzles. They're all dodecahedrons. They're very fun, very interesting, very different. People like seeing these, I think, when I pull them out because they're surprised that there's like other shapes. And these are mostly solved the same way as a regular Rubik's Cube, just like the algorithms, which is just like a series of moves, are a little bit different just because they have, you know, they're different shaped, but same general idea. Okay, so this one is called a Pyraminx. It's a little hard to pick up. Sorry. It's a pyramid, and this one's pretty easy. I'd say this one maybe takes me a minute, 30 seconds. That is to say a minute or 30 seconds. And it's probably not too hard to solve even faster than that, but I just don't know a lot of the algorithms, so I just end up kind of spamming the one that I know and waiting until it works, because it's a simple enough puzzle that you can just do that. It's pretty interesting. It's another interesting shape. I can kind of try and show you how it turns here. It's like this. See, it's like you don't turn layers exactly. You turn these little tips, and like this top little tip will also turn. But this is very easy to solve because you just point it to the right thing, and there you go. So the tips don't really add much, but this one's interesting. It's not my favorite puzzle, but definitely cool to have, and fun to break out every once in a while and just like have some simple solves to it. Very satisfying action too, because it very much like clicks into place. I don't know if, maybe you can hear it. Yeah, I don't know. Feels very satisfying is all. So that's the Pyraminx. And then I'll show you this one. This one's quite fun. So I can't demonstrate this exactly right now, but this is a fidget spinner. I can try. Yeah. Yeah. But it also is a 3x3x1, so I can kind of do this to it. You can see I turned the corner here, or edge. And this one's pretty simple too. I don't spend most of the time with this solving it. It is just very satisfying to use as a fidget spinner. So that's what I spend most of the time with this one doing. But this one's very interesting. I think I got this one as a gift from my mom, and it was very, very nice of her. Very fun little gift. Very fidget spinner. Very entertaining. Definitely love to just play around with this one and not do much with it. Not exactly a puzzle I solve a ton, but fun to have. And then, let's see, this one. This one's kind of crazy. This was one of the first puzzles I saw online and thought, oh my god, that is crazy. So this is a gear cube. These are actually not that hard to solve, but I've kind of forgotten how to do it. And that's the case with most of these puzzles. Most of these puzzles I have been able to solve at one point or another without needing to look at like a guide or something like that. But I've just forgotten in the meantime. So this one, like I said, I did know how to solve at one point, but I have since forgotten. And the thing that's interesting about this is it's got this kind of geared action to it. You can kind of see as I turn it, the gear in the middle kind of turns along the teeth of the other layers there. And like you can kind of see that like now that I've turned it a bit, all the gears are kind of out of whack, all the edges are kind of crazy. And you know, the more you turn it like this, the more edges will kind of go crazy and get all messed up. And yeah, so you know, as a turning puzzle is supposed to do, it does exactly that. So this is really fun. This one's very satisfying. It's also very easy to pinch your paws in here and yeah, kind of hurt yourself. So definitely avoid doing that. But otherwise, really fun. And like I said, this one's pretty easy to solve. I just have forgotten how, and I think it probably would take like a minute or two to solve if I actually remembered how. That one's very interesting. That's definitely one of my favorites, just to play around with and to solve every once in a while. I need to figure out how to solve that again. And then I have a couple of 3x3 shape mods. I've got these guys here. This one I kind of turned a little bit by accident. Yeah, there we go. And this one. So it can be kind of hard to tell with these, but these are all just the same as the 3x3, but kind of different shapes, which is to say they have the same mechanism and the same number of pieces in the same orientations and stuff, but they just look a little bit different, and so that makes them a little bit different to solve. Like for example, this one is really interesting. It's got all these kind of crazy cuts to it, and this one's really fun to solve because it let's see if I can kind of demonstrate. Let's see here. Yeah, you can kind of tell. It gets all kind of disfigured and disformed like this, and it's really interesting and fun to kind of mess around with in the way that a normal Rubik's Cube isn't, just because it stays cube shaped the whole time. So I'm gonna put it back here before I mess it up too much, because while these do solve mostly the same way as Rubik's Cube, sometimes they can be pretty tricky. And you can kind of see that with this one over here. I was playing around with this before I started filming because it was totally unsolved, and I got it mostly solved, but this last layer up here needs a little bit of work still, and I'm just not sure how to do it. I think I could look it up, but I'm not really sure. Part of my problem is that like these are like the same as the edge pieces on a normal Rubik's Cube, but it's impossible to tell like if this one is the right side up and this one is the right side up and they're in the right spot, or if they're both the wrong side up but they're in opposite spots, so it looks the same. But that's a big difference because it'll mess with like the rest of like the way the corners are set up. Like it's really complicated. These things are very complicated, and like while I can solve some of them, I don't know exactly how a lot of the stuff works. I just kind of follow the instructions that I remember, and so I can't really like put a new method together myself. So maybe I'll have to look this up and see how this is actually meant to be solved, because I'm very stuck on this last layer here. The rest of it's all solved, but just this last part is tough. So that's that one. And like, it's probably hard to tell how exactly this is a shape mod of Rubik's Cube, but the idea is, like, this is the centerpiece. These are all edges here. Like, these are like these edge pieces. And then these are all corners. So it's really interesting. So like this is in a center, this is a corner, and this is a center, and this is a corner, which actually looks like a corner. But these are both corners. You can swap these two pieces, and they both be in the same spot. It's a little confusing if you don't know much about Rubik's Cubes, or even if you do know a lot about Rubik's Cubes, it can be kind of tough to envision it. And then this one, again, another shape mod, but this one doesn't have any color stickers. It's all the same color. So the idea here is that you have to solve it only by the shapes of things. So like if you turn it, like this is a full 90-degree turn, you can see the shape is all out of place. And so you need to turn it like this to get the shape back. And when it's all scrambled up like that, that's how you solve it. You just have to get it back to the right shape, and it's solved. So, you know, if this one was like that, then it would be solved already. But it is not. It has the colors on it, so it's a little tougher. And these I don't solve all that much, and when I do, it usually takes me quite a while because they're a little brain bending, and I'm constantly having to remind myself, like, oh, okay, this is an edge, not a corner. This is a corner, not an edge. And, oh, this is a center, not a corner. You know, stuff like that. So, yeah, these take me quite a while to figure out. And this one, you know, I didn't even figure out. So, those are the shape mods. Let's see. These I have are Scube, like Rubik's Cubes, called Scubes. This one is a Scube, and it turns in a really interesting way. Oh, and it's very clicky. I forgot about that. So this one turns like this. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but it turns like this. So this is, I believe, what they call corner turning. And so you basically pinch opposite corners and you turn it like this. And it's really interesting. There aren't a ton of puzzles like this. Ooh, this is really close to being solved. I don't know how to solve these last two corners though. I kind of did that by accident. But again, this is another puzzle that I once knew how to solve and then kind of forgot and then never bothered to learn it again because, I don't know, I didn't really like solving it that much. It wasn't my favorite puzzle, really. So it kind of sits mostly unsolved on my shelf. But definitely a very interesting puzzle, and I do like the clicky action. Maybe I'll have to learn how to solve this just so I can have it sit and be clicky. And this one is going to be very, very, very difficult to demonstrate with these paws. But I can try. I'll explain it anyway, so before I try messing things up. The idea is these corners will turn like this, and then you have to basically turn all 8 corners like this before you can even start moving the puzzle. And the way it turns is exactly like the Scube. It's corner turning, but it also has these individual pieces here that get caught in the turns, and so these get scrambled. And then once you scramble it that way, then you can turn the corners some more, and then the individual pieces will be in different locations, and then you scramble a lot more that way. And so it's a bit like the Scube with some extra pieces in the middle, and this one's really fun. I like this one a lot, mostly because it's like very like it changes its shape a lot. There's a couple different pieces to it. It's very interesting how it has like 2 modes. Like, you know, it's like this, and then in order to even turn it, you have to figure out what to do because it just doesn't turn otherwise. It's just a very interesting puzzle. I really don't know of many others like this one. So this one's really fun. And I think I do know how to solve this. Like, if you put this in front of me and told me I had to solve this, I could probably figure it out in like 10 minutes, I think. Could probably remember it. But yeah, very fun. Very interesting puzzle. This was another one I think that I got as a gift. And this was a great gift. This was I'm very happy with this one. So I only have a couple more here. The first one I'm going to show is this one. This is a square one. So yeah, you can tell this is another one that I don't know how to solve very well. I don't think I actually ever knew how to solve this one. I only ever was able to solve this by looking up tutorials, and this is a very strange puzzle. It only has a couple different moves. This is the main one. You flip it like this, and then it's got this interesting shape to it, and then you can flip it again, and the other thing you do is you turn these top pieces like this. And so basically the idea is you turn a top piece like this to some direction, you do a flip, and then maybe you turn some more to figure out another piece to get in to where you need to go, and then you flip it again, and then yeah, I can get it back to the cube shape pretty reliably, but anything beyond that is I cannot do. I need to look up tutorials and stuff, but because it's just so different, the like notation they use is different for this, and like I didn't want to learn anything new. So I never really learned how to solve this one. I don't know, this one it's just not my favorite. It's such a weird puzzle, and I don't like the way that it kind of moves. I don't find it very interesting, and I don't know. I'm just I'm a hater. I don't like the square one very much. And I'm not sure that they have other like bigger versions of this. I'm not sure if there's any other like versions of this puzzle. I think it might just be this one, but I could be totally wrong about that. I think I may have seen like a square 2 or something, because of course that's what they would call it, right? So that's the square one, and then the last puzzle that I have to show you is insane. I cannot solve this one to save my life. This one is basically just three 3x3s all kind of fused together at the corner, and dude, this one is so hard. I do not know what I'm doing with this. Like it just turns in so many. Oh, I broke it a little bit. Hold on. Please stand by. Okay, no worries. This kind of thing happens all the time. But yeah, I was just saying that like there's so many different ways you can turn this thing, and like it's just so complicated. Because what this really is it's 3 bandaged cubes. And essentially what a bandaged cube is if you were to take like a 3x3, but basically just like glue these 2 pieces together. For example, the idea is like, you know, you like used a band-aid or something to put it on top. And so what it is it's a 3x3. It's 3 3x3s all with a bandage right here on like one whole edge, including both corners. And I just don't solve too many puzzles like that. I'm not really good at bandaged puzzles, and yeah, I don't know how to even go about solving this one. I guess that's a good start, is I could look up how to solve bandaged puzzles. But yeah, this one's just crazy. I scrambled it when I first got it, and I tried messing with it, and this is still that scramble. So it really hasn't been solved the whole time I've had it. And you know, I guess what just happened, that's one way I could solve it. I could just take the whole damn thing apart, but I'm not going to do that. That's shameful. So yeah, this is the last one I wanted to show you, because this thing is just crazy. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to solve this puzzle, but you know, we'll see. I'll keep working on it. But yeah, so those are my Rubik's Cube collection. It's like I said, there's a bit more than this, but I think these are the most interesting ones and the ones that I had the most to say about. And just as a quick update for the channel, I do want to make more of these videos. I do like making them. Like, this was very fun, and I have a couple other ideas I'd like to do with these paws. But the issue is just that it's so hard to find time to record these, if I'm being honest, because it is about 2 a.m. right now, which is the only time it gets quiet. And, you know, I work a job and I have stuff I like to do on the weekends, and I just don't have a ton of time to stay up until 2 a.m. and record one of these. But when I do have the time, I like to do these, and it's very fun. And I like that people enjoy them, and I'm mostly making these for you. I'm not super interested in growing the channel or anything like that. I was at the start, which is why I was making so many videos, but now mostly what I do these for is for the people who I know really like them. And I hope you really liked this one, because this was very fun to put together. And I do have a couple other ideas for videos like this I'd like to do with the paws, and maybe like just showing off some stuff. But I may have to get a little creative with how I do them. I don't think it's a secret that these videos are very inspired by the way OpenEG does a lot of his videos. And I have yet more inspiration to take from him. So keep an eye out for a couple more videos in this style. And, the VR chat videos aren't going away either. I think there's a couple other things I'd like to do in that style as well. And I like that I get to look at the camera and be very emotive in those types of videos. And these are a bit limiting with just the paws, but yeah. So I think that about summarizes the whole concept of the channel. And if you are looking for, I don't think there's anybody who follows this channel that doesn't also follow Furry ASMR Manny Manster's channel. But I had a small section in his latest collab video, so please go check that out if you're interested in another 5 minutes of content. But yeah, okay, that's it for tonight.